आपका
जी
इंतजार कर रहे
नमस्कार
थे।
नमस्कार
नमस्ते जी
सबको।
भाई।
नमस्ते
जी जी
और
जी।
नमस्ते सबको, नमस्ते जी सबको।
नमस्कार जी,
प्रणाम
नमस्कार
जी
जी।
भाई प्रणाम।
आपको भी प्रणाम जी।
जी भाई,
Thank
की
you very
हालचाल?
much.
की हालचाल?
बहुत बढ़िया जी, बहुत बढ़िया।
आज
एवरीथिंग
आज रूपा जी ने बोला सब अपनी अपनी लैंग्वेज में सब ग्रीट करेंगे।
ठीक है, बिल्कुल
Very
बिल्कुल
good.
करेंगे, क्यों नहीं करेंगे।
बहुत बढ़िया।
जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
फतेह।
गुरु फतेह जी, गुरु फतेह। थैंक यू।
जीत भाई नमस्ते।
नमस्ते जी, नमस्ते।
कैसे हो?
जितेंद्र भाई बहुत मजे में, बहुत मजे में।
माथुर साहब, रेखा जी नमस्ते।
नमस्कार जी।
नमस्कार जी, नमस्कार जी, सबको नमस्कार जी।
वेलकम करती हूँ विद लवली फ्लावर्स।
ओह वेरी नाइस,
ओह थैंक यू,
ब्यूटीफुल।
थैंक
आपको
यू।
फ्रेश कर देंगे।
बहुत ही सुंदर, ब्यूटीफुल।
और
Yellow
आप सबको
है,
शायद
red
मालूम
है।
नहीं है,
हाँ।
आप सबको शायद मालूम नहीं है, मंजू जी जो है ना, शी इज अ हाईली टैलेंटेड
अरे
फ्लावर
जाने दी।
मेकिंग में, हाईली टैलेंटेड एंड शी हैज गॉट अ वेरी गुड स्किल।
वेरी गुड।
चलिए शुरुआत की जाए, मेरे ख्याल से वक्त हो गया है आज।
सबका स्वागत है भारतीय समाज की ओर से जूम मीटिंग में। और सबसे पहले हम जैसे प्रार्थना शुरू करते हैं वैसे प्रार्थना से शुरू करेंगे।
ऐ मालिक तेरे बंदे हम, ऐसे हो हमारे करम, नेकी पर चले और बदी से टले, ताकि हंसते हुए निकले हम। ऐ मालिक तेरे बंदे ये अंधेरा घना छा रहा, तेरा इंसान घबरा रहा। ये अंधेरा घना छा रहा, तेरा इंसान घबरा रहा। हो रहा बेखबर, कुछ न आता नजर, सुख का सूरज छिपा जा रहा है। तेरी रोशनी में जो दम, जो अमावस को कर दे पूनम, नेकी पर चले और बदी से टले, ताकि हंसते हुए
सबका स्वागत है। वाकई में दिन कितना खूबसूरत है। अगर आप अपने अपने आई कैन सी काफ़ी धूप भी आ रही है आप सबके घरों में एंड बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। वंस अगेन जब आपके दर्शन होते हैं, आपसे मुलाकात होती है तो काफ़ी सारी एक पॉजिटिव एनर्जी हमारे अंदर आ जाती है, क्योंकि आप लोग जो एक्चुअली कहते हैं ना कि हम हर इंसान कोई भी है एक वाइब्स एमिट करता है, एक ऊर्जा एमिट करता है। अगर तो आप किसी अच्छे पर्सन के पास बैठे हैं तो आपको ऐसा लगता है कि वाकई में यार इसके पास तो बैठे ही रहना चाहिए। लेकिन कुछ लोग ऐसे भी होते हैं जिनके पास अगर आप बैठते हैं तो या आप वेट करते रहते हैं कि कब उठ के वो जाए या हम जाएं। लेकिन आप लोग बहुत स्पेशल हो और आपके पास जो भी आता है वो बस आपका ही बन के रह जाता है, क्योंकि आप हो ही इतने प्यारे। तो इसके लिए मैं आप सबको बधाई देता हूँ कि आपके अंदर इतनी पॉजिटिव एनर्जी है जो हमें इंस्पायर करती है, हमें प्रेरित करती है टू डू मोर एंड मोर फॉर एवरीवन। तो खुशी की बात है। और आज मुझे मालूम है कि हमारे पास बर्थडे भी हैं। आई कैन सी ए बर्थडे गर्ल हियर राइट हियर। पूनम जी को मैं देख रहा हूँ एंड देयर आर सो मेनी अदर्स। तो आई थिंक सदगुना जी विल रीड द लिस्ट ऑफ द बर्थडेज
जी
नेम्स।
जी जी जी। आप सबको बर्थडे की ढेर सारी बधाइयाँ। मैं सबके नाम यहाँ अनाउंस करने जा रही हूँ।
आधा कट रहा
तो
है,
प्लीज,
आधा कट रहा है।
हाँ जी, रेनू मल्होत्रा जी, राकेश जी, खुर्शीद बोहरा जी, दिलीप पटेल, मीना दीवान जी, शब्बीर भाई, जहीर जरीवाला जी, सैफुद्दीन मर्चेंट जी, जनक दुलारी अग्रवाल जी, पूनम जी एंड कुसुम खोसला जी। इनके अलावा भी अगर किसी की बर्थडे है और मैं नाम बोलना भूल गई हूँ तो क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ। आप सबको आपकी बर्थडे की ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं भारतीय समाज की ओर से। धन्यवाद।
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy long life to you. Happy healthy life to you. Happy long life, happy healthy life, happy long life to you. बार बार दिन ये आए, बार बार दिन बार बार दिन ये आए, बार बार दिन ये आए। तुम जियो हमारों साथ, ये मेरी है आरज़ू। Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday James साहब to you. हम भी अगर बच्चे होते, हम भी अगर बच्चे होते, नाम हमारा होता अबलू डबलू, खाने को मिलते लड्डू और दुनिया कहती हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू। हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू। हैप्पी बर्थडे टू यू। हाँ जी,
आप सबको बर्थडे की ढेर ढेर सारी बधाइयाँ। बर्थडे मालूम है बर्थडे है क्या? आप लोग सोचते होंगे भाई बर्थडे आया हमने मना लिया, लेकिन बर्थडे इस एक क्या कहते हैं ना कि हम हर चीज़ के लिए आउटकम और अकाउंटेबिलिटी की तरफ ध्यान देते हैं। बर्थडेज आर आपको इंडिकेट करते हैं कि आपने जो अकाउंटेबिलिटी है, आपने पीछे पूरे साल में क्या किया और आपने आने वाले साल में क्या करना है। ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट बात है, क्योंकि हम देखिए वही खाता जैसे हम लोग नहीं करते हैं कि नया साल आता है तो नए वही खाता करते हैं, लेकिन देखते हैं भाई पिछले साल हमने क्या किया था और इस साल आगे हमने क्या करना है, किस तरीके से हम अपना प्रॉफिट बढ़ाएं। तो हमने अपनी ज़िंदगी में प्रॉफिट कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं? वो ऐसे बढ़ा सकते हैं कि हम अपने जो कर्म हमने पीछे किए, उनमें इम्प्रूवमेंट होनी चाहिए, उसमें कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए। तो वो एक प्लानिंग होती है, हर इंडिविजुअल की एक प्लानिंग करने का तरीका होता है। मुझे आई एम श्योर कि हर एक ने जिसका बर्थडे होता है, वही सोचता है यार मैं इस साल तो मैंने ये किया, लेकिन ये चीजें मैं नहीं कर सका या कर सकी, तो व्हाई नॉट आई जस्ट प्लान टू डू दोज थिंग्स। कि सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है कि जब हम किसी दूसरे को खुशी पहुंचा सकते हैं, किसी को अच्छा फील करा सकते हैं, तो मैं यकीन माने कि यू हैव डन द ग्रेट जॉब। क्योंकि भगवान जी क्या चाहते हैं, भगवान जी हर अपने बच्चे को खुश देखना चाहते हैं, तंदुरुस्त देखना चाहते हैं। तो जब आपके अंदर ये भावना दूसरों के लिए होती है, तो दूसरे की जो खुशियां हैं वो आपके अंदर और भी आ जाती हैं। बिकॉज उनको तो मिलती ही मिलती हैं, क्योंकि उनके लिए आप प्रार्थना कर रहे हैं। लेकिन उनकी जो रिफ्लेक्शन है प्रार्थना के, आपके प्रार्थना का रिफ्लेक्शन जो है वो आपको वो इंस्पायर करता है, ब्लेस करता है। तो हम कोशिश यही करें कि जब भी कुछ सोचें तो अच्छा सोचें, कुछ करें तो अच्छा करें। तो बस भगवान ने जो हमें जो चीज़ें दी हैं उसका हम सदुपयोग करें। तो जीत भाई, अभी आपके भाषण बहुत हो गया, आपने बहुत बहुत बढ़िया बातें कही, लेकिन अभी आपको चुप करना है, क्योंकि आगे का कार्यक्रम सदगुना जी बताएंगे कि हमने क्या करना है।
आगे के कार्यक्रम में सबसे पहले रूपा जी आप कुछ जरूर बताएंगे, और उसके आगे का प्रोग्राम भी रूपा जी ही बताएंगी, क्योंकि बहुत बढ़िया प्रोग्राम लेके आज रूपा जी आ रही है।
ओए होए होए।
ओवर टू रूपा जी।
थैंक यू सदगुना जी। कहते हैं कि मोहब्बत में कुछ ऐसी बात को अंजाम दे। जरा गौर कीजिएगा कि मोहब्बत में कुछ ऐसी बात को अंजाम दे, सदियां भी गुजर जाऊं मगर मीठी जुबान दे।
क्या
वाह
बात
वाह
है,
वाह वाह,
क्या
तालियां
बात है,
बजाइए,
बहुत
तभी
बढ़िया,
मजा।
बहुत
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 बढ़िया,
बढ़िया रूपा जी।
बहुत बढ़िया।
थैंक यू। मेरे ख्याल से अभी ईला जी आने वाली हैं या आ चुकी हैं। वो म्यूट पे हैं अभी।
Hello, everybody.
हेलो,
हेलो
गुड
ईला
मॉर्निंग
जी।
ईला बेन।
गुड
Am
मॉर्निंग।
I in the right timing? Am I?
हाँ, केम छो?
Right here. Do we give talk?
आप
Madam
हमारी
Pajama?
हिंदी सीख रहे हैं, आप हिंदी सीख रहे हैं, हम आपकी गुजराती सीख रहे हैं।
हाँ, right है।
राइट
Okay.
है, राइट है।
हम ठीक है। आप सब लोग कैसे हैं? ठीक है?
सारू छे,
बहुत
सारू
बढ़िया,
छे।
वेलकम
सारू छे?
वेलकम वेलकम
वेलकम।
Thank
वेलकम
you.
11। बहुत शॉर्ट नोटिस
Thank
पे आप
you.
आ जाती हैं, जस्ट टेक्स्ट अवे। आई एम सो ग्लैड एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक
Not a
यू
problem. हम सब लोग अभी एक्सरसाइज करेंगे संगे। 3
जी
songs करेंगे मेरे संगे।
जी।
इसलिए सब लोग थोड़ा हिलना. Maybe your hands, maybe your legs, okay? But enjoy, have fun. और आपके साथ परिवार है, आपके grandchildren, आपके family संगे है, उसके भी बताना join करना, okay?
जी।
जरूर।
Here we go. Okay. Music आते हैं, हाँ?
बाहों में अब है ये जिंदगी, किरणें हैं सांसों में, बातों में रोशनी। सूरज की बाहों में अब है ये जिंदगी, किरणें हैं सांसों में, बातों में रोशनी। जो कि बदली की ताल है, आहा आया ख्याल है, आहा बात हमें जिंदगी एक बार, क्यों न करे कोई हम इसका प्यार, जाने किसका है हमें इंतजार, किस जिंदगी रही है और नहीं। जो भी कल तक बस आरज़ू, आहा वो ही पागल है मैं और तू, थामे हम हाथों में यूं ही हाथ, शहर दिल में घूमे के साथ साथ, सारी सारी दिन सारी सारी रात बरस रही है एक खुशी है कहीं। सोच की बाहों में अपनी जिंदगी, कितने सांसों में बातों में रोशनी। सोच की बाहों में अपनी जिंदगी, कितने सांसों में बातों में रोशनी। नए सपने जो बन सके, उसी जिंदगी को कहूँ जिंदगी, नए नए रास्ते जो चुन सके, उसी जिंदगी को कहूँ जिंदगी, पल पल में चलती हो झूम के चलती हो वो है जिंदगी। सूरज की बाहों में हमने ये जिंदगी, गिरने में सांसों में बातों में रोशनी। सूरज की बाहों में हमने ये जिंदगी, गिरने में सांसों में बातों में रोशनी। पलते हमें जिंदगी एक बार, क्यों न करे कोई हम इसका प्यार, जाने किसका है हमें इंतजार, ये जिंदगी यही है और यही। सूरज की बाहों में अपने जिंदगी, गिरने में सांसों में बातों में रोशनी। सूरज की बाहों में अपने जिंदगी, गिरने में सांसों में बातों में रोशनी। सूरज की गिरने में सांसों में बातों में रोशनी। चुरा के दिल मेरा गोरिया चली, उड़ा के निंदिया कहाँ तू चली। पागल हुआ दीवाना हुआ, पागल हुआ दीवाना हुआ, कैसी ये दिल की लगी। चुरा के दिल तेरा गोरिया चली, मुझे क्या पता कहाँ मैं चली। ओ मंजिल मेरी बस तू ही तू, मंजिल मेरी बस तू ही तू, तेरी गली में चली। चुरा के दिल मेरा गोरिया चली, चुरा के दिल तेरा चली मैं चली। नशीली नशीली निगाहों ने लूटा, अदाओं ने घायल किया, कभी पास आके कभी दूर जाके बड़ा दर्द तूने दिया। मेरे रूप का मेरे रंग का, तेरे रूप का तेरे रंग का, तेरे रूप का तेरे रंग का, छाया है मुझ पे नशा। चुरा के दिल तेरा गोरिया चली, मुझे क्या पता कहाँ मैं चली। अकेला हूँ मैं भी, अकेली है तू भी, बड़ी दिल नशी रात है। तुझे मैं बता दूं, मुझे तू बता दे, जो लब पे की बात है। ना कोई है डर, ना कोई फिकर, ना कोई डर, ना कोई फिकर, ना कोई डर, लगा है मजा चुरा के दिल मेरा गोरिया चली उड़ा के निंदिया कहाँ तू चली ओ मंजिल मेरी बस तू ही तू मंजिल मेरी बस तू ही तू तेरी गली में चली चुरा के दिल मेरा गोरिया चली चुरा के दिल तेरा चली मैं चली चली मैं चली चली मैं चली चली मैं चली चली मैं चली
Well done. Number 3. Okay, number 3. Here we go.
चोरी की ना चंचराया किया
Sorry, the one here comes.
है समा प्यार का आजरा हमसे आगे मिल हो गए हम फिदा मांगते हैं हम तुमसे दिल इसने भी दिल मांगा उसने भी दिल मांगा इसने भी दिल मांगा उसने भी दिल मांगा मैंने इनकार किया या परदेसी तुझे दिल दे दिया या परदेसी तुझे दिल दे दिया तुझे दिल दे दिया मैंने इकरार किया जा मैंने प्यार किया जा परदेसी तुझे दिल दे दिया ऑफर गई आए पर हमने ठुकराए सोचा रहेंगे क्या वारे क्यों ना कोई भाया अभी समझ आया इस दिल पे हक था तेरा रे हाँ सच बोलो खुदा कसम लुट गए सनम तेरी गली आए जब से हम आना जाना तेरी गली रोजाना टूटे ना ये याराना उसने भी दिल मांगा मैंने इनकार किया जा परदेसी तुझे दिल दे दिया मैंने इकरार किया जा मैंने प्यार किया जा परदेसी तुझे दिल दे दिया na 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 हमको क्या लेना है परवाह करे क्यों किसी की बदनाम होते हैं हम तुम तो हो जाएंगे कि लुट गए सनम तेरी गली आए हम आना जाना तेरी गली टूटे ना ये याराना उसने भी दिल मांगा मैंने इनकार किया जा परदेसी तुझे दिल दे दिया तुझे दिल दे दिया मैंने इकरार किया मैंने प्यार किया जा परदेसी तुझे दिल दे दिया तुझे दिल दे दिया
है ना आपकी कुर्सी पे Alright. और सांस लेना और धीरे से बाहर उसको ब्लो करना फिर से अंदर लेना और धीरे से थोड़े नीचे आ जाएंगे right. आपके एक पैर आगे लाना उसके toes pull them towards you toes towards you feel the stretch पीछे stretch करना और दूसरा leg good nice one hand across ऐसे लाना धीरे से और उसे धीरे से खींचना अंदर good same hand ये पीछे ले जाना धीरे से and reach up straight up और दूसरा हाथ पीछे और उसके आगे लाना और इसे खींचना धीरे से very good और धीरे से आपके neck नीचे लाना ऊपर दिखना सीधा नीचे और other side or center good shoulders round एक हाथ ऐसे और well done thank you everybody
Thank you very much.
बहुत
बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you.
Thank you for
very
all
much.
the good work. Thank you.
thank you bye bye
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
हाँ जी रूपा जी
जी अभी एक और प्रोग्राम होने वाला है या कुछ पहले है उसके पहले
नहीं वही प्रोग्राम
शुरू करना है अभी
जी बिल्कुल
रूपा जी
तो ठीक है
बिंदी
ना।
जी आ चुकी हैं
तो इनको इनवाइट कर देते हैं
हाँ जी मैं इनको स्पॉटलाइट पे डाल रही हूँ बिंदी जी is here with us
नमस्कार बिंदी जी नमस्कार
नमस्कार बिंदी जी
और आप
आज आपको we are seeing you in a different
क्या
attire. Altogether different.
she looks amazing
थैंक यू और मेरी मम्मी भी है
जी
नमस्कार नमस्कार जी
नमस्ते
नमस्कार
जी
मुझे
We
लगता
want to
है
be
कि आज
proud
आप
of,
बहुत
बिंदी
स्पेशल
जी.
कुछ सिखाने वाली हैं जी
We are all proud of Bindi ji. She has got so much to offer to the communities,
Yeah.
and she is doing a great job, great work for the community and the human.
Thank you.
We all respect you and we all love you. Thank you. Thank you.
लेकिन जीत जी आप लोगों को मेरे से ज़्यादा ज्ञान है. So I feel shy, you know, like even Ruchika ji said, I come, I said to my mama, I said, I'm here to teach them, but I should be learning from them.
I think learning के लिए there's no age barrier. We have been learning so many things from you. Actually, to be very honest, I want to tell you one thing. कि भाई आपसे हमने एक चीज सीखी है कि no matter what you do, even you're in pain, keep smiling. We have learned from you, and you have taught us so many good things. How to keep our body fit, how to be a good human being, how the yoga can really project your inner strength to the outwardly people. I mean, that's great. I won't talk more than that, but I can tell you we are blessed to have you in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
जी,
Gigi.
we welcome your mom.
थैंक यू
Yes.
थैंक यू
नमस्कार जी.
नमस्ते.
आप सबको नमस्कार.
आपको भी.
So yeah, मैं हूँ बिंदी और आप सबको मेरा नमस्कार. My mother, ये मेरा मम्मी है, and she's going to join me today. And मेरा पहला प्यार योगा और like I'll say पहला और meditation और प्राणायाम है. लेकिन I think for me I'd say मुझे खाना पकाना भी बहुत अच्छा लगता है. So I really like to learn, and I love cooking, and I like to learn new recipes, the nutritional benefits, and I love to share. Yes. And today, Gigi, Rupaji, or thank you, Ruchika ji, for contacting me, had invited me to actually talk a lot about food waste in New Zealand. Now, I know that last time मैंने yoga class करवाया, then we had Karthik who had come from the council, and he spoke about waste minimization. But today I'm going to focus on food waste and how much food is actually being wasted in the world. You know, one thing that was shocking for me was that a third of the food, so one third of the food that is produced in the world actually gets thrown away. We end up throwing it away, and I think I that's why I started to share these workshops. So how I can teach people to reduce their food waste, to store, how to learn how to store their food better, because most of the time we are not storing the food properly, and so that's why it is इसलिए यार
बिगड़ जाता है सब
yeah
खाना.
yeah इसलिए बिगड़ जाता है. So I have a little presentation, and then we're going to share a few recipes using leftovers. So like if you have leftover rice or leftover sabji vegetables, how you can use those vegetables and make it exciting. But I also want to say that I again I will say I know that all of you have so much knowledge and maybe knowing more than me. So please, throughout the session, maybe towards the end, if you have more knowledge or any ideas or tips, then you can share it with us as well. So my story is that I was born in Zimbabwe, and I came to New Zealand 18 years ago. But for the last maybe 15 years, my whole focus has been to start living my life the way my parents, my grandparents lived. Because I realized that if I live simply, I can live just as richly as they did. Because I know my grandparents lived very simply, but yet their lives were so rich. And I started to realize that if I really remember my childhood, I don't remember any wastage. And I think all of you are probably champions at saving things, like zero waste champions. I would say each one of you is probably a zero waste champion. So I'll just share a presentation. So love food, hate waste. What does food waste actually mean? So food waste, when I'm going to talk about food waste, it's food when people go to the supermarket and buy too much. And I know I'm guilty of that. We used to go to the supermarket and possibly buy more than I actually needed. And then you come home and you have all these ideas. I want to cook this, I want to cook that, and then you don't have the time. So then we don't end up cooking it, and then it gets wasted. And then the other reason why many people are throwing food away is because they're not storing it properly, and also because leftovers are not being eaten. So I'll share the top 10 most wasted food items. I think you have all seen this in Auckland alone. We collect at least enough rubbish to fill the Eden Park rugby field. So yeah, Eden Park rugby field there, and in 1 week we fill up this much rubbish every week. On average, the family, all Auckland families are collecting this much. And the interesting part is that half of the rubbish in the bin is food. So about 2 years ago, Auckland Council did a survey and did some research, and they looked into people's bins. They surveyed and analyzed thousands of rubbish bins, and they realized that 45%, so half of the bin had food waste, maybe leftovers, maybe yeah, kuch, like
सड़ा हुआ खाना, fruit, सब्जी वैसे वगैरह वगैरह.
And so if we are collecting enough rubbish to fill the rugby field for 1 week, it can add up to 2 sky towers height in 1 year. So if we continue to collect the same amount of rubbish in 1 year, we'll have two sky towers. That's how high the rubbish will be. But if half the rubbish is actually food, then we can reduce that.
And we can use it for the garden fertilizer.
Composting.
Yeah, composting. Yeah. So we can have a compost, the garden small bin like we can introduce it.
So when I first, I'll talk a little bit about all of that in a minute, but when I first, I think it was 15 years ago, I had said to my parents, I'm going to get a worm farm and a compost bin, and everybody in my family they were against it. No, you are making extra work for us. And they thought it would be really difficult, but actually
But it's helping. Yeah.
It's been so good, so easy. And what happens is, so most of the time we think that food in the rubbish bin breaks down, so decompose hota hai, so it's okay, it's fine, we can throw it away. But because the conditions are not correct, so there's not enough oxygen for the food to break down properly, it starts to release a gas in the environment, and that gas is called methane, which is worse than carbon. So the gas is actually worse than carbon. So I have a question, if anybody knows the answer. How much food do you think we waste each year as a nation, all of New Zealand, in tons or kgs? Any guesses? 157,389 tons of food is thrown away. And I know, for me, I feel that most of you are my seniors and probably are so mindful and careful about not throwing food. And so I want to encourage you, I wish that more and more of our youth and our young generation start to be open about learning from our adults, our grandparents. So you can share this knowledge with them. You can share this information. You can share that 157,389 tons of food is being thrown away in New Zealand every year. And that's equivalent to $1.17 billion a year. Every year, this is the amount of money that is equivalent to the food waste. And that can actually provide food for all school-age children for 4 years. For 4 years. And of course, you will all know that when we throw away the food, I remember my parents would always say that itna mehnat jata hai ye sab cheezon ko banane ke liye. And now I grow my own fruit and vegetables, and when I see the vegetable growing from seed to little seedling to plant, you'll never have the heart to throw it away. So I always encourage my younger participants to start to learn how to grow food, because when you grow your own food, you never have the heart to throw it away, because the power, the water,
इतनी
the
मेहनत
time,
लगती है, पूरा दिन पूरा साल निकल जाता है, तभी तो चावल पकते हैं, गेहूं पकते हैं, तो खेतों में बहुत मेहनत करते हैं सब लोग.
And the electricity and the water that is and the transport is that is all put into it also gets wasted when the food is wasted. So after doing surveys and after contacting many New Zealanders, it was found that on average, each household wastes twice as much as this food. Now, 89% of the people that were surveyed felt that wasting food is not a good thing, but yet, on average, we are wasting this much. And this is equivalent to 640. Actually, now it will be a little more, about $750, $800 a year, which is 3 shopping trolleys. 3 shopping trolleys worth of food is being thrown away. And now bread. So I'll just talk a little bit about the top 10 most wasted food items, and then you'll know why we've chosen the recipes that we're going to share with you. So bread is the #1 most wasted food item. So one of the things I learned is masala bread, how to make masala bread. 20 million loaves per year being thrown away. Something else I'll share is that when we
Bread rolls.
we can make bread rolls or many different things. I'll share all the recipes with Ruchikaji and she can pass it on to you. And I will ask you to share your recipes with me also. I'll share my contact details and you could always contact me. But #1 is bread. And when I first moved to New Zealand, in Africa, the climate is very dry and warm. So most people keep their bread on the kitchen in a cupboard, in the kitchen counter, in a bread tin. But when we moved to New Zealand, within 1 or 2 days, there was mold on the bread. And then we learned very quickly that according to the climate in the country that you're staying in, the storage also changes. How you store your food and produce changes. So, of course, the best place for bread is in the fridge or in the freezer. Yeah. And if you put the bread in the freezer, you just shake it a little bit so that the slices don't get stuck to each other. So that's the tip that you can use.
But rather buy fresh until you have able to buy fresh one. But
to store it, you have to store it in
Yeah.
the fridge or the freezer. Most people buy fresh,
Yeah.
but then they keep it outside, and that's why it gets bad,
bad.
and then it gets thrown away. Yeah. Then the other top 10 most wasted food items, #2 is leftovers. So लोग को बहुत ज़्यादा बनाता है, and I know that in our culture we feel you should never have less, you should always have more. Food is a sign of abundance, and it brings people together. My mother, we used to live in a joint family. I had my grandparents, my dada, my dadi, dadaji, dadima, and kakaji, and all of them, my kakas and my kakis and my chacha chachis and cousins, and we were maybe 20 of us. And my mother used to cook most of the meals. And so when we moved to New Zealand, we were just 4 of us. She forgot how to cook for 4 people. She was cooking so much food, we had so much left over. Then of course, like that, she used her creativity, and then she would make different meals using the leftovers, like masala rice or
different varieties
yeah.
of leftover food. Yeah.
Pura, which we'll do today, and you use leftover ingredients and leftover meals, and you make it something new. And when we were younger, we didn't realize it was the same thing. Oranges are thrown away. So oranges, apples, bananas. So I wanted to show you this. Can you all see my screen? You can see me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I learned that the best way to keep your bananas is you put a paper around the top. Any paper, even like a normal paper, and you wrap it around the top part of your banana. How many people, you can just show me hands, how many of you keep your bananas with your fruits in your fruit bowl? Yeah, Manjuji has put her hand up. Yeah, anybody else? I can see a few.
Rashmi auntie, Rashmi ji,
Huh?
she has put her hand up.
So when we keep our bananas,
I put aluminum foil on the head of banana.
Okay, okay, aluminium foil. Yes, so it stops it from getting ripe faster. I don't use the aluminium foil because the paper is better for the environment. So I use the paper. But it's a good idea to keep your bananas longer. And also what happens is with the bananas, if you keep it with the other fruits, it starts to make the other fruits ripen faster. So they start ripening faster, and then that's how they get bad. Yeah. And so that's why the other thing is also sometimes people feel like when the bananas have lots of black and brown spots, then it's too ripe to eat and it gets thrown away. But they say that this is a healthier banana than the yellow banana. So the more spots it has, the better it is for antioxidants, for all the nutrients. The nutrient value is much, much higher the riper the banana. And Mama, I think some of you may be knowing we make banana pakoras or bhajjas using the bananas that are ripened.
You can make banana loaf. There is also many ways you can make a use of banana.
Or potatoes. Who stores their potatoes with their onions? Again, Manjuji's put a hand up. Yes, Ashokji. Anyone else? I'm trying to see if I can see everybody. Anyone keeps bananas? Rashmiji, a banana, I mean your potato and onions together?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what happens is they both release a gas and then they start to sprout faster, and the banana and the apple, the potatoes start to ripen faster and sprout faster. So it's always better to keep the potatoes and the onions separate in a dark cupboard or pantry in two separate boxes. I keep a box, so Mama Sally, would you give that box with the lid, you know?
Yeah.
Then I'll just show you mine.
उसमें छेद है तो थोड़ा breathing भी हो रहा है.
Yeah, if you use cold holes at chair.
Yes, yes, we get it. Separate.
Yeah. So I keep my onions in here, and I keep the same one. I keep a different one for potatoes, and then they stay in the pantry. And of course we are vegetarians, so chicken and beef. The things that I'll share with you is for people who do eat non-veg. If you store your chicken and meat before the use by date in the freezer, then it will last longer. But I also encourage people to be vegetarian because it saves the planet and less resources are used. And then lettuce and rice. So in a minute, I'll talk to you about different storage tips. So why are we wasting? Because people are buying and cooking more than we need. I keep telling my mother that it's okay, to cook just enough food. You don't need to feel that. She said, no, people should not feel like they're going to go hungry. I said, no, it's okay. Basically, like Ayurveda says, that we should only eat as much as we can fit in our palms of our hands. If we're eating more than this, then we're eating too much. In fact, once somebody asked me, Bindi, if we can eat as much as in our palms of our hands, how high can we go? So I said, no, it's like this. How much we should be eating. So if we cook too much, we end up eating too much also. And then, of course, we don't use it in time. We don't store it correctly. So some of the tips that we've listed together with the local council and what we share with people is planning. So I've got a few planners that you can stick on your fridge, and you can have a meal planner. And I think you can make it a challenge to get all the people in your family to cook. So then when everybody has a set day, then they plan their meals, and then you buy the ingredients you need and you use what you require. Because of lockdown in our house, we mera bhai hai or bhabhi bhi hai or papa hai, mommy hai, and we are in two separate houses but on the same property. So we eat together, but we made a roster because of lockdown. We said, okay, everybody has to have a turn. So one day is my turn, one day is Manoj's turn, one day is mommy's turn. And we just rotate. That way everybody plans and they cook. Yeah. And one day we keep for, like, if they're leftovers, we use the leftovers the next day. Yeah. And we get to all experiment and be creative. And then knowing dates. So I'll talk a little bit about knowing your dates and storing properly. So what I'll do is I'll escape from this unless I show you one. Yeah, let me show you this. So with knowing your dates is many people feel that if food items are beyond the best before date or past expiry date, they cannot eat it because it has gone bad. But this is not true. Only the use by date you have to follow. And use by date is usually on meat or fish or baby formula products. But best before and expiry date is just a requirement from the manufacturers, the producers, the packaging in the supermarkets. They have to put it there so that people know what the date is and when it is best before. So it means that it's freshest up to that date. After that date, it's still safe to eat it. Even though it says expire or best before, it's still safe to eat it, but may not be as fresh. Yeah. So 99% of the time, people end up throwing it away because it is past that date. The other thing I learned from my grandparents is that my grandmother would say, use your senses, smell, taste, feel it. If it is feeling okay, if it is smelling okay, and you taste a little bit, it's fine. And one thing my mother taught me recently that my dadima used to do was, if yogurt has gone sour or cream has gone sour, you can mix it in water and you can put it in the garden, and it's good for dudi. Yeah. Dudi, karela, and all those. And because I like to grow vegetables now, I'm using it. You hardly goes bad, but we hardly drink the cream as well. We hardly use cream in much of our cooking, and I had extra cream. So then she said, mix it in water and put it in by the dudi, the loki. Yeah, loki. And then I'll talk about the storage, but I'll take out my share screen so you can see me, and I'll show you some of my how I store my things in my kitchen. But this handy guide is on the Love Food Hate Waste website. So it shows, and I think I learned from my grandparents, and I'm sure that all of you do the same. We use our hands more than the measuring cups, etc. Our hands are our best measuring cups. So for like rice or atta, carbohydrates, we use the fist. And then of course with vegetables, how much you can fit in the hand. So these are guides so that I keep telling my mother, don't cook too much food, use your guides. So, okay, I'll just stop sharing and I'll quickly just share some tips. One thing that I wanted to share with you before I start cooking is part of the presentation is some tips. Now, the things that we have done differently in our household to be more environmentally sustainable is one is our compost bins. And if you have the opportunity to, I'm sure Ruchika ji might be arranging for a composting workshop maybe sometime, but it would be great. Composting is such a wonderful way, and I'm sure many of you are already growing a lot of some food at home. And so composting is one way. The other way was reducing the plastic, because most of the time carrots and other vegetables that come in plastic bags, people feel that they can just store it in their fridge that same way. But research and studies that have been done in Otago University have shown that it doesn't last long in the plastic bag. So it's better to, so for me, I put my carrots in a cotton bag. My mother uses old tea towels and she makes them. So I told you they are my inspiration, my grandparents, my parents, because they don't waste anything. Old tea towels become bags for vegetables. So the carrots can go in here and they last longer. Research has showed they last longer than in plastic. Even with lettuce, lettuce becomes slimy and limp. But you can keep lettuce in a container. You can wrap it in paper towel and you keep it in an airtight container, or you can keep it in a cotton bag. But if it is loose lettuce like leaves like spinach or silver beet, you can wrap it in the tissue and then keep it in an airtight container. And something that I learned from an Iraqi lady who came to one of my courses was she said she puts 2 stainless steel or 1 stainless, any stainless steel into her container, her jar, or even if you have a Ziploc, whatever it is, and it absorbs the moisture. It absorbs the moisture from the vegetables. So like strawberries I have here, I keep the teaspoon, the silver spoon inside, and it absorbs the moisture, which means that it stays for longer. I thought that was amazing. So that's one of the things that that I've been doing. And these containers are what I've been using mostly for storing. For me, I felt that the biggest benefit was if I put everything as much as I can in the cotton bags as well as into airtight containers, they last much longer. My vegetables last much longer if they need to go in the fridge. And also knowing that between 1 and 4 degrees Celsius is the best temperature for your fridge. Many people have their fridge a little too high, so it's not cool enough. Between 1 degrees and 4 degrees Celsius. So before we start the cooking, anybody have any questions around tips? Something that they maybe notice always goes bad in their household and would like to know how they can store it better. Any? No? How many people keep their tomatoes in the fridge? Sumanji, Ashokji. Everybody. So, research has shown that tomatoes in the fruit bowl is better because the tomatoes stay fresher and they last longer. And if you put them in the fridge, they lose the taste quicker. So the best thing to do is to keep tomatoes in your bowl. So I keep them in my own bowl here, in my own fruit bowl, and I put my tomatoes and my capsicum and lemons. I keep them in here and on the kitchen counter. But if you are going to, if you're not going to use your tomatoes for a long time, then it's nice to also you can freeze them and puree them and freeze them. So I'm just going to take my camera around now. We can start cooking. I think everybody's waiting for the exciting cooking part. Like,
Excuse me, Bindi. I just have one question. I just wanted to ask the step that you told to store the fruits with a spoon. Could you please repeat that?
So the lady that had shared this tip with me said that any stainless steel absorbs moisture. So place the stainless steel item in your container that you are going to store your fruits or vegetables. So for my instance, I had the container with strawberries. I just put 2 stainless steel spoons in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. That's good. Thank you.
For example, can you see here, Manoj is supposed to be helping with his own video, so it's going to spotlight him, but I'm not sure where he has gone. Give me 1 second, I'll just show. So my capsicums, can you see my capsicums? Yeah. My capsicums, another great way of storing, I will keep my capsicums because I've only used half of the capsicum. I'll store the capsicum in a container, airtight container, and then put it in the fridge, and it lasts much longer. Then if you leave it loose or if you leave it in an open bowl, the best way is to keep it in an airtight container. Yeah. And with all the spinach, so this is from my garden. So with the spinach, what I'll do is, if I'm not going to use the spinach, I cut too much. I will wrap it in the paper towel. I'll wrap it in here, and then I'll put the spinach in here, and then I'll seal it with the lid. Yeah. So I make sure that.
How can we save coriander?
Same way. Coriander, I do the same thing with coriander. So this is actually my coriander here.
Most of the green vegetables we can store just in a paper towel.
But don't wash it. Yeah, keep it dry.
Right.
Keep it dry, and then I keep it in either in the paper towel, or I keep it in my brown bag. I put it in here, and I seal it. So it's airtight. This is the last weeks, months. I know that on the Love Food Hate Waste website, they say that many herbs and greens like coriander or celery or even asparagus, you can put it in a little glass of water and keep it in your fridge. I don't think that works. It doesn't work for me. And then you have to keep changing the water every day. So for me, I found this is the best way. and it lasts weeks. Yeah, at least 2 weeks, I think the coriander lasts. Any other questions around food storage? Okay, so Ruchikaji, I'm going to ask if you can spotlight Manoj, because he will take the video of us cooking so that he can capture everything and everyone can see clearly. But what I'm going to do is I'm using in my kitchen, I've got, let's see. Are you spotlighted? Okay. I've got I've spinach and kale, silver beet and kale, capsicum, onions, and coriander, which I've just cut up now. And so, if you have leftover sabji, any leftover sabji, you can just you can keep it. Don't like feel like, oh no, now what am I going to do with it? In fact, you probably know.
आधा कैप्सिकम छूट जाता है, आधी अनियन छूट जाता है, फ्रिज में रखते हैं तो फिर सबको मिला के चॉप करके बैटर बना के यूज करेंगे आज. तो आपको डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन दिखा रही है.
Just turn on the stove. Can everyone see clearly? So I'm going to put chana flour.
Chickpeas.
Yeah, chickpea flour. I'm not measuring. I'm just, but you guys, I think all of my seniors that are watching today are probably more professional than me. So I'm just, but I'm sharing with you what I have learned. And I put a little bit, just a little bit of atta in there as well. You don't even have to, but once it becomes crispy, huh? Little crispier. And then haldi, mirchi, green chili, nice, salt. I put less salt in the morning because my mother-in-law is staying with us and she used to salt too much salt before blood pressure. And I put pepper because haldi and pepper, the pepper allows the haldi to absorb into the body better. So Ruchika, so the rest of, so all our audience, what I've done is I put chana atta, chickpea flour, a little bit of atta in there, not too much. About 1 tablespoon. Then chili, and then all your masalas, and I'm going to add a little bit of water. Add water. Now, if you have, yeah, Mommy, do you want to put the rice, the leftover rice?
Oil.
Yeah. And a little bit of oil. So now we have leftover rice in our house. So Mommy said that you can actually make this with leftover rice. So if you have leftover vegetables, leftover rice, you just mix it all together and just add it in. Rice is because rice is one of the top 10 most wasted food items. So rice is good to have, to use this in here. Yeah, I'll put in. I'm going to use my hands because it's my own house. Put a little bit of capsicum, onion, dhania. I put kale. I know my nephew doesn't like kale, but he doesn't even know it's in here when he eats it. So this is a great way of also putting vegetables that your maybe children or grandchildren don't like. Some vegetables, yeah. everyone can hear you, so if you're not liking the way I'm doing it, you can tell them. My mother is a perfectionist when it comes to cooking. So
It's ginger.
yes, ginger. I like to use fresh ginger. I'm not putting garlic in here, but you can add garlic if you like. I put lots of, my favorites are lots of ginger, lots of lemon. I love lemon and ginger. I'll just squeeze some lemon in here. Okay. And then I've put my pan on. So I've got my pan already it's already hot. Okay now. Sorry, you're making a mess. Okay, and then I'll just let it cook a little bit on the one side. So if you have any questions around storage, like I'm just trying to think what are the other things. So top 10, so we talked about potatoes and onions, we talked about apples are good to store in your fridge. Many people keep their apples in their fruit bowl, but what happens with the apples is it comes from cold storage, and so because the apples come from cold storage, it should go back into the fridge. The apple should go into the fridge.
Bindi ji, what about the milk?
Milk, yes.
Yeah.
Milk should be kept in the fridge, but not on the fridge door. So I'm gonna just change it. I'm gonna spotlight myself here. Add spotlight, so you can see me and you can see the cooking as well. What happens with milk is in Africa we went through many times of shortage of all dairy products, and so what happened was with the milk, I remember my mother and my aunties, they used to freeze the milk. They used to freeze the milk. Yeah, but over here there's an abundance of milk, and so you don't need to freeze milk. But the best place to keep it in your fridge is inside on the second shelf instead of on the door, because the door is the warmest part of the fridge, and the best place the best things to store on the door are your sauces, your drinks, your juices. So I'm gonna just come back to the pancake, and there we go, pura, and I just turned it over. So yeah, healthy leftover vegetable pura with leftover rice. Isn't that cool? Like, I mean, most people are throwing away rice. I know you can dry the rice. That's one thing that mom does, and then she makes mamra out of the rice. Yeah, you deep fry it, and then yeah. And cheese. The other thing with cheese is the best way to keep cheese is to keep it in the same packaging that the cheese that you buy the cheese in. So if you open the cheese, keep that same plastic packaging, and then you can keep putting it in and put it into a Ziploc bag or an airtight container, or even a beeswax wrap if you have a beeswax wrap. I'm just going to give it a little push so that it cooks nicely on the edges. Nuts are, if you buy nuts in bulk, nuts are good to store in the fridge, because if you keep them out for too long, then they start to become rancid and they won't stay as fresh. So what we do is I keep some of my nuts in a small jar in my pantry. The rest of the nuts I store it in the fridge. And the other thing also is that I learned from my mother is that if you add bay leaves, a few bay leaves and a few cloves in your atta, in your rice flour, in your different dals, so like moong dal and etc. The cloves and that stop the what are you? Yeah, the weevils. Okay. And if you like, you can actually grate some cheese, and you can put a little bit of cheese if you eat cheese, and then fold it. My mommy doesn't like it with the cheese, but here we go, and it's done. No, a chutney with the garlic chutney. Ready? Ta-da!
Wow, it's very nice.
Good one.
Looking good.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking
Healthy
good.
and easy to cook.
Super simple, super easy, and it's super fast. Like if you're in a hurry, or you have to make something because like if you yeah, mom says waste may say best. And the other thing also is that come on, my friend. If I know that sometimes when you're young you can go without food and all, but I know that the elders will say I am diabetic, I'm taking medication, or I need to eat food. So then last minute I find this is so easy, I'll just put everything together and then it's simple, done. So, what else? I'm just trying to think. So I've covered nuts, cheese, milk, even cream can be frozen. But if you put anything into the fridge or the freezer, it's very good to if it comes out of the freezer, it's good to use it after it's defrosted, like at least within that same day. But if it's gone into the fridge, if it's leftovers in the fridge, you can use it after 2 days still. I use my senses, I smell, I feel, and if I've frozen it, it should probably last something. If I've frozen is maybe months it will last. I prefer to cook fresh food. So yeah, Ayurveda says that the nutrient value of your food, like the prana in your food stays for at least 3 to 4 hours. So anything that you cut or cook within 3 to 4 hours, you should use because it has the highest prana. But if you cannot, it's okay. And I keep telling many people have this concept like, oh, I should throw this away now because there's not enough prana, or it's the nutrition value is not. The other thing is if you freeze it immediately after cutting it, then it still holds the nutrition value according to nutritionists. Yeah.
Bindiji, I have seen a lot of people storing their masalas in the fridge.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
So what's the reason for that? Because masalas in the fridge sounds quite odd. So what's
I think it's because when people buy in bulk, then in order for it to last longer, like most for us as Indians in our culture, we live in bigger families, so we often buy in bulk. So like atta, for example, we buy atta like 20 kgs, right? No, 10 kgs, sorry, 10 kgs. And then we share it between my mom and I. And then my mom says that it's best to keep, if there's extra, in the freezer or in the fridge if you have space, because it lasts longer and it stops the kire from entering into it. And the same thing with the masalas. If you are buying it in bulk, then the fridge is definitely good. But mom feels sometimes also some people. Oh yes, I learned a new so Manoj, everybody's whispering around here. Oh, remember this, remember that. The other thing that I learned recently was black tea bags, the black tea bags, so English breakfast or Earl Grey. If you're using those, I mean, we using the loose leaf Vagbakri we use, but if you have the tea bags and you use the tea bags, keep them. After using it, dry it, keep it clean, and you can actually use the tea bags to prevent odors. So if you have grandkids who play lots of sports and they have smelly shoes, you can put those tea bags in their shoes. You can put the tea bag in your nuts, in your container of nuts, because it absorbs in your this, and it retains the flavor. According to this Iranian lady, it retains the flavor. So I've not yet tried that one, but if you use black tea bags, dry them, keep them clean, dry them, and then once they're fully dried, then you can put them in with your nuts, with your in your cupboards, in your shoes, and it absorbs the odors and it keeps everything fresh. But after, I think after 2 months, you have to change them. But I use cloves. But tea bags, I have not. Tea bags you can try if your grandchildren have smelly shoes, or if your husbands, or if your let's say that it's only men that have smelly shoes. Sorry, Chi. That's just, I'm just joking. If usually those that play a lot of sports, sometimes they, the kids have that. Yeah. What are the tips around food? Any other tips around storage of food? It's nice to be able to, what I do is in one drawer I keep my vegetables, and one drawer I keep all my nuts in the fridge. You know, the drawers that keeps them both fresh longer. I don't mix them. I keep my chilies, etc., ground chili, ground garlic, etc., on the top shelf. And then underneath the second shelf, I keep, if they're leftovers. Another tip is to write a little note to say, or have a shelf where all the things that need to be eaten within within a few days, immediately keep a shelf for those. And then the next shelf you have all the other items.
Bindiji, I want to say about something about tea bags.
Yes.
Yeah, I just collect the whole day tea bags. It becomes like at least 6 on the plate. And then I wash them, squeeze them, and spread them. If not spreading, straight away break them and open and put it into my compost bin, the small bin on the bench top, and it gets the other vegetable odors away.
And it helps in the plant growing if you put it in your daily
it
plants,
helps,
in your home plants.
Yeah, same as coffee.
Coffee beans, right?
Coffee beans, and the same thing, I use them.
Yes.
Yeah, just collect up to the evening, or straight away also. If I'm doing my dishes, I'll squeeze the washing is necessary if you use sugar, because otherwise the ants, they enter come in the small bin and the bench, on the bench only.
Yes, yes.
That straight away goes into my compost.
Amazing. Yes, I keep my tea as well into the compost bins, and coffee is really good in your garden. Coffee grinds, because that keeps
coffee grinds
away also. If you have vegetables in your garden, I prefer not to use pesticides or slug or snail pellets. And I'm one of those mad people who go out in the middle of the night and pick out all the slugs from vegetables, while when they're small, the seedlings, they only come for the seedlings. So I'm one of those mad people. I know my father keeps saying, just put the pellets, but I just don't have the heart to. I feel like ahimsa is one of the values that I want to try and practice. And so I consciously go and I'll apologize and say, this is your side, this is my side. And I will take them out. But I do know that neem oil, and I want to try the neem oil. So mixing 2 spoons of neem oil and 2 spoons of dishwashing. I use eco dishwashing soap. So I mix 2 spoons of eco dishwashing soap with the 2 spoons of neem oil in water, and I make a spray jar. And I've just only done it now, so I don't know if it will work, because I noticed that my curry patta last season had a lot of aphids, you know, those little flies. Yeah, and so because of that, this year I want to make
Kill
sure
the plant.
Yeah, they do, and then they put this. They call it this black soot. It's that gets accumulated underneath. It's like a bacteria that's underneath the leaves. So I'm now trying. I've cut all the leaves with that black soot on it, and I'm spraying it. And let's see. Hopefully this season it will keep. Usually they come in the summer, so hopefully it will work. But I'm going to try the neem this time. I never used it before. So has anybody else used it?
Yes, I have used, and it has, my lemons were not doing well, but neem oil, that helps. Same, I mix some dishwashing liquid.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Manjuji. So I hope it will work for me also.
Yeah, it worked for me, but my lemons are getting better now.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Great.
I have in pots, and the same as with my methi neem also.
Okay, great. And I removed the mulch. So if you're vegetable gardeners, I put mulch thinking that it keeps it moist and it will retain the water. But mulch, a friend of mine, and I've been studying a lot of learning and researching a lot about permaculture. And I learned that the snails and the slugs love to hide under the mulch. So
Yeah.
then I removed all the mulch.
Oh my God. But still I use the snail pellets because then when I plant some new spinach, yesterday only I did the new very small spinach and my cosmos, half of it's gone in the morning. I went there.
Yeah, I know.
It's
It happened.
already gone and I went in the morning. Oh my God, it's gone.
Yeah. The other thing that somebody told me, which I haven't done because now my seedlings are quite big and so they've been fine. But I know my parents at my mum's, behind my mum's, they planted the spinach. The same thing happened to them. Even the galbutas, the marigolds,
Yeah.
they went all the earwigs, they call earwigs, they all went for the marigolds. And so somebody said to me, you put your milk carton, cut it in half and put it on top and take out the top cap. So the
Yeah.
air goes in, and you can put the milk carton over the seedling, and that protects it. So my parents, they had already got eaten by the slugs at the back there. So
Yeah, mine are also, half of it's gone. But anyway, I still have little bottles, but I collected some bottles, the see-through bottles of Coca-Cola and thin ones and all. Whichever plant is very precious, I do look after it and put that on top.
yeah,
Because
that's
the lid you remove and it starts breathing, or you can pierce the holes into it.
yes. And I mean, I think like within the ecological system, like I keep reminding my family, reminding myself that we are all like part of this ecosystem and we all have a role to play. So how can we
Yeah.
do it as harmoniously as possible? How can
Yeah.
we be as how can we share this land with
Yeah.
each other? The insects, the snails, the slugs, the pests. How can we share it? How can we? But intention is amazing, and I'm not saying I honestly mean it, because a friend of mine said to me, I said I was in my area, every night I go, and then I started going to my parents' area and doing the same thing with the slugs, and they had already eaten the spinach, and I said,
Spinach, yeah, my spinach is,
and I
50% is gone.
yeah, but
बिंदी जी बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है कि आप इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन दे रही हैं और मुझे लगता है कि हमारे और भी कुछ साथी होंगे शायद पूछने वाले। रुचिका जी अगर और कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं तो उनको भी ले आइए।
किसी को कोई क्वेश्चंस हो इस टॉपिक से रिलेटेड? रश्मि जी। हाँ जी।
बिंदी, मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जो हमने स्टोर करना है वो ग्लास का कंटेनर होना चाहिए या प्लास्टिक का भी चल सकता है?
ग्लास
फॉर स्टोरेज।
I go for glass.
ग्लास बहुत
Glass.
अच्छा है, ग्लास इज बेस्ट, बट आपके पास ग्लास नहीं है तो वो प्लास्टिक कंटेनर भी चलेगा, बट ग्लास इज बेस्ट, बट इवन airtight is the most important thing.
Okay, thank you.
और किसी को कुछ पूछना है, कुछ आप लोगों ने फ्रिज में स्टोर करके रखना है या फ्रीजर में, तो प्लीज फील फ्री। आज तो बिंदी जी बहुत जेनरस है, बहुत कुछ बता रही है और ऑफ कोर्स मुझे भी बहुत कुछ पता चला, तो प्लीज आप भी पूछ सकते हैं। मुझे लगता है कोई खाना ही नहीं बनाता है, कुछ स्टोर ही नहीं।
आई हैव अ क्वेश्चन। आपने अभी बोला कि ब्रेड को हम फ्रीजर में रख सकते हैं। नाउ व्हेन वी हैव टू यूज द ब्रेड, how long should we remove the bread from the freezer to defrost it? Iska kya, what is the procedure of using the bread after it has been frozen?
That's a great question, Ruchika ji, because with the bread loaf, the reason I said you shake it up is if you have the slices, then you just take out the slices that you require and you can put it directly in the toaster. Because then the toaster defrosts it as well and you can make it into toast. Of course, if you want to have it as a sandwich, then I prefer to use the bread. If I know that we want to make sandwiches, then we keep the bread in the fridge. If I know that we're not going to use bread for a long time, then Manoj and I freeze it. And then what we do is we just take out slice by slice as we need it.
Okay, thank you.
बिंदी जी का खाना तो बन गया है. बिंदी जी, it's lovely pancake. It was really yummy.
Yeah, we have everybody is enjoying it on the side.
Uh,
So, mommy, do you want to add anything? No?
Mummy ji can speak very good Hindi. I can see that.
I know she does, and she's got so much knowledge. She's a little shy. I don't know why she's not. She's talking so softly and shyly. Normally, she doesn't talk this shy. But I'm learning from her. I learn a lot from her, and many different tips and ways.
I'm there too, dear.
And I have to learn Hindi from Rupa ji.
अरे नहीं.
Yeah.
और क्या किसी ने कुछ पूछना है यार? कोई भी चीज हम लोग स्टोर कर सकते हैं, फ्रीज कर सकते हैं. Can we store anything like any fruit or anything?
Also a good question. You can store anything except for like the softer, more water, high in water content vegetables. So lettuce, and also watermelon, oranges. Those cannot be stored in the freezer because the water content is so high. It doesn't work. But for herbs, the way that you can store herbs, even like coriander, basil, Thai basil, oregano, is you can actually put it in the ice cube tray.
Okay.
Put a little bit of oil, olive oil, or even butter, and then freeze it. And then each time you need it, so if you want basil, for example, pasta, then you take 1 cube out or 2 cubes out, or coriander also, same, or chilies even. I know my mom freezes her chilies like that. And lemons are great if you take the juice out. If you have a lemon tree, juice the lemon, and you can save the juice by freezing the juice in different containers.
Yeah, I have seen that people
Usually
used to
do
make
it in
the
an ice
puree.
tray, and then
Yeah.
you can take out the cubes and put it in a Ziploc bag and then freeze them.
Yes, Poonam. Yes.
Easy. There are quite a many things we need to share, things that we know. There are many things we learned today. Thank you.
I want to encourage, each one of you, because I keep telling my parents, I keep telling my friends and my colleagues that the greatest wisdom is right here in front of us in our elders. And I really want to encourage you to share your knowledge. And in fact, I even said to my mother, one of the things that I want to do, I'm doing many things, but one of the things that I really want to do is reach out to all our elders, and maybe through Rupaji, maybe Ruchikaji, through your networks also, do a seva where I can come and you can share a recipe, or you can even share a tip or a skill or your knowledge, and we can capture it and make little videos and then share them with each other, share them with the public. And this is how we can capture this wisdom before it,
I think Bindi ji, you are very valuable, and we are definitely going to invite you in our summer camp. I think children are very curious to know what you are teaching them, how to make sandwiches or something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
With the Art of Living Foundation, we run a lot of programs for our kids and our youth, and we have our own camps here as well, and they love it. We do so many things, like there's so many different activities around environmental sustainability and how they can become much more involved and how they can learn.
और किसी को पूछना है before Bindi ji goes?
ये तो ऐसी नॉलेज है, जितनी आप बात करते जाओगे कुछ ना कुछ किसी न किसी को याद आएगा, वो निकलता ही जाएगा. So that's a huge thing. For kitchen tips it's not a small thing that you can just talk it out at one go.
It's very important for all of us.
Yeah.
आदमी लोग बेचारे सोच रहे होंगे हम लोग को which are the tasks we need to do.
They can grow vegetable, Ajit ji.
Okay. Yes. And if you need help, just reach out. I would be more than happy. If you want to start a compost bin and you don't know where to start or how to do it, then just reach out. And I don't know if there are many presenters who do take the time to go to people's houses to help them, but I am available and I do that as my seva.
Lovely, so lovely.
Yeah. So if you don't
सबने
know it,
पुराने समय की पिक्चरें देखी होंगी और वैजंती माला को देखा होगा सबने ना। मुझे आज बिंदी जी एकदम वैजंती माला की जैसे लग रहे हैं। Honestly, you are so
Fantastic.
sweet. Yeah, सच्ची बोल रही हूँ।
thank you. Rupaji, you're always too kind. You're always showering me with a lot of love and kindness.
You are. You deserve that, yeah.
But I really feel grateful to have this opportunity and to share with all of you, and yeah, and thank you for sharing your ideas and your tips with us as well. And I hope we can continue to journey together. You know, I feel like food waste is such an easy way to reduce the wastage in our environment. It's so easy, food waste. You
It's
know.
a shame to waste food. Yeah, it's a shame.
I have got a suggestion.
Sure.
Digi, I have got a suggestion that you see, so much of wealth of knowledge is around us, and with your help and with the help of our uh, mature adults, I don't call them seniors, mature adults. So if we can compile them into a book, and we can share it with the, not only with limited, it can be unlimited number of people can be benefited. I think it is a great thing to happen if we can compile it, and we can just share it with everyone, whosoever we know. And this is very, very valuable session. Of course, you know, I do not know how much I can contribute to it, but you know, I will make sure that, you know, food is not wasted at our place. Definitely. This is what I have learned today, because it's very important that, you know, food is, when I look around the world, when I see the people in different parts of the world, they don't even have 2 times, they don't have meal to eat. And we need to be mindful that we are not supposed to waste any food. Honestly, we also freeze our bread, because we know that, you know, we are not going to finish this bread in a day or two. So what we do, we freeze it, and answering a question that how long it takes to thaw a bread, you don't have to do anything. Just take out one piece, in 5 minutes it will be thawed. Well, I mean, there are so many things we can learn, and we can share it with others. So I think it is a great idea and great time that we compile and a book. You know, even just, you know, you made a wonderful papura. I was thinking, you know, when is my lunchtime? If I was staying nearby, I would have come to your place and said, okay, you know, you have done your bit. Let me do my bit. Okay, that's leave the joke apart. But the thing is that, you know, it is important that we should waste, but if it is there, then we should reuse it, and to the best, you know, as long as it is usable. So I think we need to compile a book of this valuable suggestion.
Absolutely, GT. In fact, my mother has already started, and so let's continue together, because that's just one aspect of the knowledge that we have in our community. There's so much here, and you have reached out to so many through the wonderful work that you and Rupaji are doing, and so let's do it. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think it's good that so many tips I can see that everyone has shared, and if we can, you know, compile them into a, you know, you be the main source of, you know, receiving it and compiling it. Ask your mom to, you know, store it in a way that she wants to store this, you know, valuable information, and then we launch it as a book written by Bindiji.
Wonderful. Let's do it. Let's do it. And so I feel so like inspired, and I feel like you know, every time I share, I feel like I wish that something positive more. I feel like I want to do more than just this. And so thank you for creating the opportunity for me, Rupa ji, and of course Ruchika ji, for reaching out to me and coordinating everything. And let's stay in touch, and I think together we can definitely restore our wisdom and our knowledge and the information that has been passed on, that's within our heritage, and let's you know, the West are thirsty for this knowledge as well, and our own younger generation should not miss out on receiving this, you know. And this is my dream, to be able to live simply and richly the way that my grandparents and my ancestors lived, and to be able to inspire others to do the same thing. And so Yeah, I thank you. Just being with you has just been so wonderful. So
thank you. And how many people out there are who will offer this, that if you need any help, I'll come to your place and show you what can be done, how to do the composting and how to do other bits and pieces. But you see, this is what I said in the beginning, that our community is blessed to have you in our lives. This is, I mean it when I say that. So, I'm sure that most of us, they will be sharing the same thing with me. They will be agreeing with me. And we pray that you keep healthy, keep smiling as ever, and keep the good work. And thank you very much for giving your special, all the valuable time to our mature elders. Mature adults.
Thank you very much.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
from us.
Thank you,
And God
Bindi
bless
ji.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bindi ji. Thank you.
I will leave now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
हाँ जी,
अभी
कैसी
खाना
रही?
बनाओ।
अपने ये जो अपने रेडी साहब हैं, वो गाल पे हाथ रख के बैठे सोच रहे हैं कि यार ये लोग बोल क्या रहे हैं, what they are trying to say. And भूला भाई, आपने क्या सीखा? What you learned? भूला भाई. Okay. And anyone else? The males. Yeah, I want to know from them, what they have learned. जितेंद्र भाई, हम अनम्यूट करके बोलो, अभी अनम्यूट कर सकते हो आप लोग सभी अपने आप को, क्योंकि we got only few minutes left. So
जितेंद्र अंकल अनम्यूट कीजिए।
आज का सेशन बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत अच्छा है ना।
सेशन तो बहुत अच्छा लगा, लेकिन ये लेडीज के लिए तो फैंटास्टिक था। मैं आदमियों से पूछना चाहता हूँ कि उन्होंने क्या सीखा।
जेंट्स से पूछ रहे।
बिंदी जी ने जो बनाया ना, वो खाने का डील कर रहा है।
आज लंच में वही खाने का है।
हाँ जी।
मधु अंकल अनम्यूट। मधु अंकल अनम्यूट।
अनम्यूट करके, या
जो बिंदी जी ने रेसिपी बताया वो हम एटलीस्ट वी से दैट वी एंजॉय एवरी वंस इन अ वीक इन द इवनिंग टाइम।
क्या बात।
But not
वेरी ट्रू।
But not in a
instant food.
Yeah, but not in a leftover food. But ये चीला हमारे वहाँ भी ऐसे हेल्दी चीला बनते हैं।
हाँ जी।
साहब, आपका क्या ख्याल है? हाँ जी,
बोलिए ना।
We enjoyed the program thoroughly.
तो आपने क्या कुछ टिप्स देने हैं या लेने हैं मैडम से?
टिप्स लेने ऐसा हम दे क्या सकते हैं।
हाँ, आप बहुत सेफ प्ले कर रहे हो सर। क्योंकि अगर कुछ टिप्स देना शुरू करोगे तो नेक्स्ट कल से आपको किचन में खड़ा होना पड़ेगा। चलो, बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया। तो anybody else want to say anything before we just sum it up? क्योंकि टाइम हो रहा है खाने का। Anybody, anything? मंजू जी, और अमेजिंग, आपने तो बहुत सारा कुछ इकट्ठा करके रखा है, पता नहीं आप क्या करते हो। आप फूलों के साथ डील करते हो, आप खाने के साथ डील करते हो, आप लेमन को पता नहीं क्या। अरे यार, कमाल हो आप लोग यार। कहाँ से इतनी चीजें दिमाग में रखी हुई आप लोगों ने।
एक अभी और शेयर करूं? ये
कर दो।
विमलेश जैन जी हैं, उनके घर में जगह नहीं थी कंपोस्ट बिन लगाने की। मैंने कहा कहीं भी लगा दो, वो तो भरना ही भरना है। तो उन्होंने लगा तो दिया। वो कह रही है अब टर्न नहीं कर पाती मैं उससे। तो मैंने कहा टर्न करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, आप सीधा लेयर्स बाय लेयर्स भरते जाओ। और ऐसा वाला बिन लो जिसके के नीचे वो 4 डोर्स होते हैं। बाय द टाइम 1 साल में वो फिल होएगा। और उसको बार बार नीचे ले जाने के लिए फ्रेश ग्रास डाल दो। जो भी ग्रास कटती है वो एक लेयर डालो। तो
पेपर भी डाल सकते हैं।
पेपर भी डाल सकते हैं।
पेपर भी डाल सकते हैं।
हाँ, पेपर। मैं पेपर इंक वाला नहीं डालती हूँ। इंक वाला पेपर सही नहीं होता।
प्लेन वाला।
हाँ, प्लेन। जितने टिश्यू पेपर यूज करते हैं ना हम लोग, वो कितना वेस्टेज होता है। अब तो मैं तौलिए घर में बहुत रखती हूँ, टिश्यू पेपर बहुत कम देती हूँ। कंपोस्ट में डालती हूँ और उसको कुछ हिलाने की जरूरत नहीं है। कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है, बस लेयर्स हिसाब से डालिए। अभी बहुत ग्रीन डाल दिया तो एक ड्राई डाल दीजिए, ड्राई लीव्स डाल दीजिए, थोड़ी सी ट्विग्स डाल दीजिए। और फिर साल 1.5 साल बाद नीचे के जब आप दरवाजे खोलेंगे, मैं अभी आपको फोटो नहीं दिखा सकती, मैंने कम से कम नहीं तो 5-6 बाल्टी विद इन दिस 15 डेज निकाल ली है। और जबकि मैं खरीद लाई थी, मैंने समझा अभी नहीं तैयार हुई होगी, और मेरी वो पैक की पैक रखी है, बनिंग से खरीद के लाई, और मैं कम से कम 6 बाल्टी अपने इधर उधर वेजिटेबल्स प्रिपेयर करने के लिए डाल चुकी हूँ, और अभी भी वो निकलती जा रही है। मैं 2 बिन लगाती हूँ, एक भर जाता है तो दूसरे को भरती रहती हूँ। तो जो अब खाली करूंगी तो फिर से वही दरवाजे उसके बंद करके और लगा देती हूँ, और फिर दरवाजे ऊपर उठाए और
अपना
नीचे
वाला दिन गया
निकाल
कहाँ पता नहीं।
क्या बात है। I think we let Manju ji look after the compost bin and we go for the lunch.
या
Over
उसी
to
से
Sadguna ji and
अच्छा
Rupa ji. आप
बनेगा।
लोग करो जो
चलिए
करना
जी,
है।
ठीक
सर
है।
जी,
बहुत अच्छा
मैं एक
ठीक,
बात
आपने
बताऊं।
भी
लंच
enjoy
में
किया।
चीला
हाँ,
खाना जाके,
मधु भाई इस कुछ कह रहे
चीला
हैं।
बनाना है
हाँ
आज।
सर जी, मैं एक
चीले
चीज
बनाए
बताऊं
सबने।
आपको
यही
रिगार्डिंग द
बनाएंगे
फूड।
आज।
मूंग की दाल
रिगार्डिंग
का भी बना सकते हो, मूंग की दाल
हाँ
भिगो के उसको पीस के और उस पे
हाँ,
सब्जियां डालो सारी।
जी
बिल्कुल।
जी, बहुत अच्छा
रिगार्डिंग
बनता
द
है।
रिगार्डिंग द
बट बेसन का
फूड
इजी है ना।
वेस्ट,
जाता है क्या?
रिगार्डिंग द फूड वेस्ट, अब बहन जी ने बहुत अच्छा टॉपिक बताया, बट आई एम वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेटली आई एम वेरी अनहैप्पी टू सी वन थिंग दैट आई read in Indian news yesterday, that some of the cows eaten some food, waste food, and about 15 cows were on the spot, I'm to say, dead by eating this food. So it is
इसीलिए
environmental also very dangerous thing, and see, for the sake of some animal also it is not good. So that was what happened yesterday. I was very shocked to see that thing.
Oh my God, that's
It,
very
15 cows were dead, some northern part of India.
या,
That is tragic. I
इसीलिए
pray
तो
to
ये
God.
बोल रही है कि आप खाद बनाओ, बाहर मत फेंको, और या रबिश में मत फेंको, इसका आप कंपोस्ट करो, और
बिल्कुल
कंपोस्ट
बिल्कुल
नहीं, आप इसका यूज भी रीयूज भी कर सकते हो। यूज भी करो।
हो सके
हाँ,
इतना वेस्ट कमी होना चाहिए। वर्ल्ड वाइड है तो बहुत ग्लोबली है ना प्रॉब्लम,
बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है फूड
बहुत
वेस्ट।
बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। वी हैव टू बी केयरफुल आवरसेल्फ सो दैट एवरीबॉडी कैन बी सॉर्टेड आउट अकॉर्डिंगली।
यस, सब लोग अपना अपना ध्यान रखें तो
बस बस वही
धरती भी
बात है।
सुधर जाएगी, हम भी सुधर जाएंगे।
बिल्कुल
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आप सबका
धन्यवाद।
साथ। ऑनेस्टली इट वाज अ ग्रेट सेशन एंड अ ग्रेट डे। सबसे बड़ी बात है, आपसे मिलना ही बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट होता है और बहुत वैल्यूएबल होता है। तो आई थिंक काफी टाइम हो गया है, आप लोगों को भी थोड़ा सा टाइम ऑफ चाहिए, जाइए आप। तो जिसने चीला बनाना है वो चीला
अभी
बनाए,
चीला
जिसने
बनाना है, उसमें भी टाइम लगेगा, 10 मिनट लग जाएंगे बनाने में।
उसमें भी टाइम लगेगा, आप
टाइम
लोग खाना
लगेगा।
वाना गर्म करने। तो थैंक यू वेरी मच, एंड मेरी तरफ से तो
थैंक यू जी,
ढेर
थैंक यू
सारी
जी,
शुभकामनाएं।
थैंक यू।
मेरी
बहुत
तरफ से
नाइस
बाय
सेशन।
बाय।
आप सबका बहुत धन्यवाद भारतीय समाज की ओर से। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू।
बाय रूपा जी, बाय जी
बाय
जी,
जी, बाय
सबको बाय बाय।
वेरी गुड, इंटरेस्टिंग
थैंक यू
टॉपिक।
रूपा
ऑल
जी।
द बेस्ट, हैव अ
बाय
गुड
जी,
तंदुरुस्त
डे।
रहें,
बाय
खुश
सदगुना
रहें,
जी,
मजे में रहें।
बाय बाय
बाय
थैंक यू वेरी
बाय
मच सर।
एवरीवन, बाय।